We're here to hear from our top elected officials tonight about key issues facing the state, issues that will affect our companies, our employees, our families, our schools, and of course, our future. What is said here tonight can help shape that future. As we begin the new year, we're fortunate that the economy is picking up, even gaining some momentum. Employment is now at above pre-recession levels, and unemployment is down to 6% statewide. But unfortunately, the recovery varies greatly from region to region. Our Chamber's economist, Dr. Paul Coombs, is now tracking 9 distinct regional economies: the Louisville region, the Lexington region, the Bowling Green, Hopkinsville region. They're doing well. Others aren't doing quite as well and are lagging behind. Even within Kentucky's traditional industries, you've got bourbon that's going gangbusters, while our coal industry faces serious threats. Not surprisingly, the business community wants to see more growth, more jobs created, more commerce. On behalf of tens of thousands of employers across the state, the Kentucky Chamber advocates policies that will make the economic climate of Kentucky more competitive, not just with surrounding states, but with the world. Here are just a few priorities for the business community in this session. Education and workforce, that's our top priority. We are currently doing an analysis of workforce training policies and programs in Kentucky, and we're planning to release a study in the next few months. It's not just Toyota gearing up to make a new Lexus and hiring people, it's employers across the state, large and small, are increasingly concerned about getting qualified and well-trained workers. We're also beginning an initiative related to post-secondary education to focus on performance-based funding for institutions and improved outcomes for students. You'll hear more about that in the coming weeks. A central piece of getting our workforce ready involves the tougher academic standards in our schools. We're very proud that with bipartisan support, Kentucky became the first state in the country to adopt new standards. Our students have been tested 3 years under the new system, and thanks to our teachers, scores are improving. We must stay the course and block any attempt to abandon these more rigorous standards. We're going to again advocate for a comprehensive P3, that's public-private partnership legislation that will encourage private companies with private capital to help government with public projects and services. Despite overwhelming bipartisan support of our P3 jobs bill last year, an amendment related to a bridge in northern Kentucky prompted a veto. We'll push hard this year for a clean bill that everyone can support. Kentucky's pension situation is still dire and will require continuing attention in the foreseeable future. We congratulate the governor and the legislature on important reforms in 2008 and 2013, changing retirement eligibility for future state workers and teachers, and creating for future state workers a defined contribution retirement plan estimated to save billions. Those were crucial votes, but the state still has tremendous liabilities that have to be covered, and more attention is needed. Last month, our chamber called on State Auditor Adam Edlin to conduct a performance audit of the Kentucky retirement systems, not to pick on the retirement system, but to make sure that it's functioning at its absolute best to keep the promises made to state workers and retirees while protecting taxpayers. Among our other priorities, we are overdue to modernize our telecommunications laws for the new age of broadband and cellular communications. We need to give voters the option to determine their own future by enacting the LIFT proposal, giving cities and counties the ability to take major economic development projects to local voters for approval. And yes, right to work. Kentucky needs to follow the lead of Warren, Fulton, Simpson counties, and probably a dozen others in the next few weeks, who know that the lack of right-to-work legislation is a real barrier, not just a perceived barrier, a real barrier to landing much-needed jobs in Kentucky. We encourage the legislature to find consensus to prevent drastic cuts in Kentucky's road plan, the backbone for moving goods and services. Commerce depends on it. Our chamber and healthcare providers across the state are united in calling for medical review panels to help sort through the frivolous lawsuits filed against doctors, hospitals, senior care homes, nurses, etc. We need to catch up with surrounding states by enacting common sense reforms. And speaking of health, business leaders across the state and the general public want to see a uniform statewide smoke-free law in Kentucky. It's probably the single best thing the legislature could do to improve health, and it won't cost the state a nickel, but it will save lives. Finally, we urge the General Assembly to address the heroin epidemic this session. It's not only destroying families, but negatively impacting our workforce. Our full chamber agenda is available online at kychamber.com. Take a look at it. Please accept the chamber's agenda as the consensus of business leaders across the state who want to see progress in this session toward a better Kentucky. Yes, we have challenges facing Kentucky, but we have at least as many opportunities to seize. We're optimistic that great progress can be made in this session of the General Assembly, and we wish our legislators good luck. Thank you very much.